Star Wars Rebels Season 5, Episode 7, Blood Sisters. Pretty awesome episode. I was really looking forward to this one because of the promo for it, where it's like Sabine and her old, running mate, they're like doing like an old West draw on each other and stuff. So I was really looking forward to this episode. I really enjoyed it. It wasn't as much confrontation between Sabine and her old running pal as I was expecting it to be, but it was definitely a fun episode for sure. They had enough confrontation, and then of course, once the Empire comes in, everyone typically joins together once the Empire comes in, because it's like they're just wiping everybody else. So it's like, all right, we got to work together. But I really enjoyed it. It was really cool. It was just a really fun episode. It started off really simple and really funny too, with Ezra and Sabine, with their phrase like, "It's a long way to Alderaan," and they just kept saying it over and over. And then they finally realized that the person they've been looking for is actually just a droid. So I thought that was actually pretty funny. Like, they were just there forever, saying that to a bunch of random people. So that was pretty funny. And then the action picks up, and it's really good. Like, her sister comes in, and it just gets really tense. It's like things get really bad, and then the stormtroopers come in, and that's when it got really cool. Like, once they escape, like, Sabine and Ezra kind of take off, and Ezra, I don't know what happened. I kind of missed the clip, but apparently just, I guess, fell out of the ship or something happened. So Sabine's off in space, and her sister's like left on the ground, and she just destroys those stormtroopers. She's spinning and flipping and dodging, and she's got the staff and everything. I love that scene, and just how fluid her movements were was really cool to watch. So that was probably my favorite scene out of the whole episode, because she just was flipping and spinning. She just beat all those guys up, and then she took off after Sabine. And she like blows up that ship, and it was just a really fun thing. It's like, all right, I'm just gonna blow off the side of this ship, and I'm just gonna suck you guys off into space and kill you all. Or at least Sabine would have been killed. I mean, Chopper and the droid, they would have been fine. But Chopper gets sucked out into space, so he has to use like his little jet boost to get back, and he helps Sabine take out her sister's ship. And it was just cool. Like, it was just a fun episode watching them, kind of go back and forth and talk about their history and how Sabine used to want to be a part of this really big mercenary group, which her sister is a part of now. And I'm just going to call her sister because, it's called Blood Sisters. And they even say themselves that they're, like sisters. So, your sister's a part of this big group now. And Sabine's like, I can't believe I ever wanted that to begin with. And now she's with the rebels, and she has such a different cause to fight for, and it's not just to make more money and live for herself. But all of that started because her sister left her for dead, basically. And it wasn't like, oh, she completely changed. It was kind of like, this life, despite being with someone I thought cared about me and someone that I cared about, this life still led me to the point where my own sister left me for dead, and that's what kind of really switched Sabine. So I like that backstory. I always love backstory for characters, because Sabine is definitely one of the characters we didn't have backstory for. So it was definitely, it was definitely awesome to get that backstory and how she used to be this bounty hunter and stuff. And like Ezra was saying, like, you're always alone, you're going off to be alone, you eat food alone, and you talk to us for a little bit, then you go off, most likely to be alone. And then he was like, oh, you used to be a bounty hunter. It's like, well, that makes perfect sense. And it was just really funny. Like, I enjoyed that. And I would love to see something with, like, Sabine and her sister as bounty hunters. I think that would actually be kind of cool. But I think that's because we never really get any Star Wars stuff for bounty hunters. Like, the one thing we were finally about to get was the old Star Wars game, which sadly got canceled, but it looked super awesome. That's like all we ever get about bounty hunters. So I would love to see something with Sabine. And we had some stuff, from the Clone Wars. That was always really awesome when the bounty hunters came in, because Cad Bane was just super cool. I hope he's in this. I don't think he died in Clone Wars. That would be awesome if he was in Rebels as well. Like, somewhere in this season or next season, it would be really awesome to see Cad Bane come back, because he was like my favorite. But it was a good episode. I don't think things are just going to be like, oh, everything's perfectly fine, where sisters again like they used to be, especially considering your sisters are part of this giant gang at this point. But they did work things out. They weren't fighting each other by the end. They protected each other. I certainly loved the robot that was on the ship, and when Sabine woke him up. And it's like, oh man, we're being attacked, deflector shields and this and that. And then he's like, are those bombs? And then he's like, where am I? And then, the whole thing blows up. It was just really funny to me. I'm like, how did they make a droid that was so stupid? But then you can kind of watch like the prequel stuff, and those movies, they're just really silly sometimes. So some things just carried over, I guess. But it was a great episode. It was really awesome to see the action. I loved the tension. I wish the tension lasted a little longer, because like them doing like the circle and everything, that was another one of my favorite parts, because it was very intense. And you know, like, we don't see the girl's face for a long time. I think it's like after the commercial break is when she finally takes her helmet off. But it was cool that she was just in the outfit. I was hoping that we would get to actually see her face, so I was glad they did that by the end. But she was just, you know, bounty hunter. It was like you didn't see her face, you could hear her voice, and that was it. So it was kind of menacing and cool, and they're both, you know, fully decked out. Sabine had her helmet on, and they're just doing the, you know, quarter circle going around each other. I was like, this is a really nice, tense scene, and it's a cool, you know, because Star Wars always has some sort of Old West stuff in it, and it's like a mix between like Old West and like samurai stuff with the lightsabers. And this is a great side of the Old West where they actually, you know, were in the draw stance. So I loved that for sure. And like I said, I'd love to see more bounty hunter stuff. That would be really awesome. But it was a fun episode. You know, pretty simple. Nothing as far as like the main story arc goes. I don't think the past couple haven't really done too much. Ever since they got the stormtroopers back, or the clone troopers, they've kind of just been doing like, you know, it's just like episode of the week. This is what happens, and nothing's really carried over since the clone trooper stuff. So I'm looking forward to that in the next one. I believe the preview was something with like the clone troopers and Kanan, or specifically Rex and Kanan together, if I'm remembering right from the promo. So definitely looking forward to that, because they have, clearly they still have their tension there. So I kind of can't wait for a full episode devoted to them working through that. And it's just Kanan and Rex kind of dealing with some of the stuff some of the issues, mostly, you know, the issues Kanan has. Like, Rex is like, I worked with, you know, Jedi before in the past, no big deal, you're just another Jedi to me. But for Kanan, it's the people that, you know, destroyed the Jedi. So still a lot of tension there to show off, and I'm looking forward to that. But this is a really fun episode. I hope we get Sabine's sister back in a future episode, and I'm sure we will, since they introduced a big gang. We might get an episode where most likely they'd be fighting the gang, and then maybe after, a little while after, the gang would help them out with the Empire or something like that. But I want to see this gang. I want to see how powerful these people are. They're all bounty hunters, but they aren't. It doesn't necessarily mean they're all Mandalorians. So I'm looking forward to that, like, just to see, you know, what their outfits and stuff look like if they are all Mandalorians. That would be really cool, because I always love the Mandalorian outfits. But I'm waiting for the return. It might not happen, you know, even this season, but I think it'll be a good return once we get Sabine's sister back. So looking forward to that. Great introduction of a really badass character, just destroying the stormtroopers and everything. So certainly love the introduction of a new character that can come back. Has quite a bit of importance to one of our main characters, so that always just makes it better. Like, a cool character is always cooler when they're important to one of the main characters. So she was already cool to begin with, and then she's tied in as Sabine's, you know, sister. It just makes it even cooler, and she's tied in with the gang, and it's like she just has a lot of awesome stuff going on for whenever they decide to bring her back. So I'm really looking forward to it. But of course, I want to know what you guys thought about this episode, so please comment below. Let me know your favorite parts, least favorite parts. And I want to know, of course, just what you guys think about Sabine's sister, as well as Sabine's backstory. It's probably a little obvious. I mean, I don't know. Not all Mandalorians are evil, but from the Clone Wars to this, everyone's kind of just been like, the Mandalorians weren't exactly the best people in the old series. It kind of worked its way out, because they figured, if I remember right, they started off as enemies, but then they kind of ended up working together with the Mandalorians, because certain things were kind of revealed. But in this, it's like, okay, Sabine's good now, but she used to be a bounty hunter and stuff like that. So everyone's kind of like, you know, you got Boba Fett, and he's kind of just like the staple, and he was a villain. So it's almost like, you know, any Mandalorian has to be like a villain or at least somewhat evil at some point. That seems like how they kind of play it. But I want to know what you guys thought about her sister as well as her backstory. So please comment below, let me know, and thanks for watching.